Hi, welcome back to the channel. So it's now nearing the end of October, and of course that means November is right around the corner. And those of us in the writing community know that November always signifies the beginning of a new novel because we have the National Novel Writing Month coming up. And I figure we'll go ahead and check in real quick to get our next novel up and ready. And let's go ahead and let's do that real quick. All right, and let's just go ahead and click on in and make sure we're good. What the? Uh, I think I killed NaNoWriMo. What? Oh, of course, I have to create an account to read the whole story. I'm just kidding. I knew all about this. Okay, so what happened was that NaNoWriMo shut down in March of 2025 due to probably a number of things. Some blame it on AI, some blame it on community vitriol. There's actually a whole story of it here in somewhere. Hold on. There's Wikipedia. There it is, Wikipedia. And of course, you can read all about it in the Wikipedia page if you want to find out what happened. But obviously, that's not good for writers because, we have a system that we like to use in order to get our stuff back in action. But the good news is that the spirit of NaNoWriMo is not dead, even though the site is officially shut down. Because Pro Writing Aid has come to the rescue and started a new program called Novel November. And with Novel November, you can essentially do the same thing that we did in NaNoWriMo. You register your work, you commit to trying to do 50,000 words in 30 days, and you get free stuff, prizes, accolades, whatever the case may be. And of course, you have your mentors. Um, so the spirit of NaNoWriMo is not dead, even if the site is. So there is a place where you can be accountable. So that means that we are still going to do an update to our annual Scrivener template that I post every year around October. And so this year is no exception. Next year might be, we'll find out because I'm getting to a point where I'm running out of ideas. But I do have some new features for this year's model of Scrivener basic writing NaNoWriMo template. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. But I just want to let you guys know you are not necessarily devoid of the opportunity to write your novel in November or even to register it on a site where you can keep up with your word counts and whatnot. The option is still there over here at Pro Writing Aid. So I do encourage you guys to check it out if you're interested. I may do the same. So, but for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the new document that I worked on. And for those of you unfamiliar, I do have videos going back for the past few years of this particular template. But the short of it is that I have a Scrivener template that tracks the word count, very similar to what you're going to find on these sites here. But mine comes with a lot more features than you're typically going to get. And so that's really the draw is if you want just the truly basic, just give me something that tracks some word count, you can use any template. It's fine. There's mine, whatever. But if you want something more extensive that involves story planning, then mine's going to come up with a lot more stuff. So I'm going to go and show you the inside of it, talk about what's new, and then see if it's something you guys want. And remember, it's a free download. You just have to go get it on my site, and I'll have a link for you somewhere in the description if you are interested in it. But yeah, that's basically it. So NaNoWriMo site is dead, but the spirit lives on, so we can still write our novels in November. Let's take a look. All right, so we are in the inside of the new Scrivener's basic NaNoWriMo template. This is the 2025 version. And again, for those who have never used this, you will navigate everything from the menus here on the side. I've left all the folders open for easy access so you can quickly see what's new and find your way around. And honestly, most of it is pretty self-explanatory. All you gotta do is just go read some of the elements inside, but you'll find that I do have a new opening here for those who are concerned about the shift from NaNoWriMo to Novel November. I did address it, and you have all the relevant links in here, so you don't need to be in the dark on that. But of course, the real place you need to go if you need to find out more how to use certain features is to come in here into the how to use this project file section. And this will give you an overview of all the different folders and sections that you have at your availability and the way you can use them. But of course, you also have this video if you would rather just watch me demonstrate it. Now, bear in mind, My videos tend to run long. I really don't want to spend all night going through this. So most of this you are going to still need to go ahead and experiment with. That's why the instructions are here, but I do want to highlight just a few of the main features so you're aware of how to use it. And then the rest you can sort of decide what you need to do as you need. I want to make it clear that not everything in this template is necessary for all writers. Um, I have definitely gone overboard in providing features for the power users among us. I personally don't use all the features that are here, and I certainly won't use them all for 2025 because I don't feel it's necessary for me, but some writers may decide that it is necessary. That's why it's here. So just kind of keep in mind you are not, expected to use every feature in here. That's ridiculous unless you really, really want to. So um, keep that in mind when you go through and look through each. The main thing you're going to need is the novel by day or the sessions by day. And then maybe the quick and dirty story reminders, which I'll show you here in a minute. Everything else is really optional. It just makes it a little easier for you to get yourself in the up and running here. I got my disclaimers here. This is just for the I would call it the legal stuff. This is more like just to kind of check your I's and your T's to make sure everything is properly dotted and crossed. And just a reminder of where to find all your files and whatnot if you need to get an update. And then we go into our basic story planning. So again, you've got all your note cards. I really don't usually update the note card section. So if you guys want to do your own notes, that's fine. That's something I always forget to check when I do these updates. So maybe in 2026, I might update the note cards. We'll see. So we have our overview. This is just, again, if you're not familiar with what NaNoWriMo is, we do have the official section that just describes everything. I did update the name somewhere. I'm not sure where, probably at the bottom. I might be imagining that. So this is something that might still be old. That's okay. Most of us won't probably, oh no, here it is. I do have the new site here. Most of us probably will skip this, but this is again for those of us who are new at using the tool. This is a reminder of what NaNoWriMo is. And then this getting story ideas, this is taking you to what I call the book ideas generator. This is an old thing that I started, I think, like 2021. This is before ChatGPT and all that stuff came out. The idea was we had an exchange where you could upload your ideas and other writers could either take them and write books about them, or, this is assuming you're a reader who wants to read this idea, or maybe you're an author with a great idea, but you just don't have the time to write it. Maybe someone else could take it. The point is it was a place that writers and readers could share ideas so we could see what the interest was in the market. Naturally, no one cares, so it's pretty dead in the water. But the point I'm making here is that it only works if you participate. So if you all decide that you want to participate in using this, by all means, please do, because this is not generated by AI. This is generated by human thinking. It really should be called the Book Ideas Exchange, but again, I came up with the title before ChatGPT and all that came out, so the title just stuck. I kept it. One day I may change it, but for now, that's what this is. So if you are interested in sharing ideas with other writers and readers, make sure you click on the link and check it out, and also make sure you invite other people to use it, because again, right now, no one's using it, and it's been dead for probably 3 years. So I sure hope y'all will decide to use it. But I can't make you, so do what you want. All right, ideas under construction. This is the section where if you've got ideas that you have for this month, but you're not sure which one you want to do, you can first of all list your ideas and then list your reasons why you might want to do it or why you might not do it. And it's a way for you to rate your ideas so you can pick the one that kind of floats to the top. So if you got a lot of ideas, this is where you write them. If you have no ideas, this is a place where you might force yourself to come up with one. But this is essentially what that's for. And then this is the important one for most of us. This is the quick and dirty story writers. This is the one that I always use for my own work. It's just the quick notes of your book, your title, genre, all that stuff. And then if you need to just get kind of started, just some kind of orientation, that's what all these sections here are for. It's just you're writing the really easy to remember, anything that you need a fast reference to, that's what this is for. Okay, this is one of the early, like, I think the original staples of the document. So this is one that most of you, if you've used this template before, you should already be familiar with this particular document, but that's what it's for those of you who are new and never seen this. This is your quick notes. This is, again, most of us will use this instead of the stuff I'm featuring, but this may not be enough for some of us, and that's why I do have the other features. So bear that in mind. All right, and then I have some newer sections that I implemented, I think either last year or the year before. So I've got the before and after NaNoWriMo sections. So this is, again, similar to quick and dirty story reminders, but it's a quick document that allows you to decide what what you have going into November, and then the after over here is what you need to do now that November is over. So that's what these are for. Again, these are just for allowing you to have your plan in place. So what's effective here is if you are using the same story across events, like let's say if you were doing the old Camp NaNoWriMo, which was April and July, then this might be what you've worked on in those months, and then going into November, you might be continuing the story, and then come December, you might be finishing it. So that's what the after is for. I don't know how it's going to work with Novel November, so this may or may not be useful to you right now, but it's there in the event that it is. And then in the middle here, you get the tracking elements. So this is also an original feature. This is where you get to track your progress every day. And of course, you have to list which year you're in. It's a 20 because I don't think most of us will be around in the 21s, but hopefully some of us might be, but we'll see. I won't be. Month, which month are you using? November, July, April, or are you doing an off month? Are you deciding to use this for something other than NaNoWriMo or Novel November? And are you just using this to get your plan down? Who knows? But the journal here is designed for you to write down your progress and your opinions of how you did, and it is all in one place here, and it goes all the way down to 31 in the event that you use a July month. Again, if you decide to use just any month really for doing a month progress, then you can certainly use this in August or October, whenever you want. But that's what this is for, is to log your daily progress. And again, this is the short version. I do have much more involved versions for those of you who really need more, and that's fine. And then over here we have in the existing sections, this is just, again, anything that you've got that is independent of your novel for November. You can write down all of your sections leading into the progress you have for November. Now, typically we start the novel in November, so most of us will not have this filled out. This will be blank for most of us. But again, if you're completing a story, or if you have a particularly long novel that you just need to work on in November, and you want to go ahead and take the 50,000 word credit, then you might feasibly paste your existing work into this section. And again, the point for doing that is to make sure you have a place that contains your work, so you have something to refer back to if you need it. Okay, but now we go into the draft section. There's two sections to worry about. You've got your novel by day and your session by day. Okay, so with novel by day, this is where you will do all of your work in one go. So typically what you do is you just write your story, okay? And that's the whole session goes here. And it will track your word count. So you'll see down here, you can, I don't know if you can see it, it's 3 out of 167. So it's already counting the words, which means you're going to have to delete this part and start fresh. But what's important here is that you have your trackers down here. You got your progress bar, and then down here you've got check whether you are ready to go. And of course, you can label everything if you need to decide like what kind of state your document's in. You can do all that, and then your status over here. What version is this? Okay. But you also have a target bar up here, okay? And you click on the target bar, you'll see that you've got your complete target and your your session target. Okay, this is just because I worked on the other parts of the document earlier. So the other thing you've got, let's close it. You have your complete metrics here, and this is again showing you your whole segment for your entire document, and you should also have a section for the document you're on. The important thing though is you can also set your target. So if you don't want to necessarily do 160,000 words, Then you, of course, you can change that. I think is it here? Yeah. If you click on the toolbar here, you can set what you want your target to be for the day. So it defaults to 1667 because that's how many you need in a day to get 50,000. But let's say if you'd rather just do 500 on day one, then you can change your target to that and just set all your limits here. So again, that's if you click on this bar, okay? So if you know how to use Scrivener, you should be able to know what all this is for. But for those of you who are not used to Scrivener, it may be unfamiliar. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So you'll see that Novel by Day has space for all days. Hopefully you'll be consistent and fill in each day, but even if you don't, the idea is when you're done with your work, then you'll go back into your tracking elements and log your progress for the day. Now, you may decide that you'd rather do things by session. So the reason why I have a session is, or section is honestly because of the way the NaNoWriMo site was set up, is you could actually input your word counts as you finish them. And so you might decide to do several sessions in one day. So that's what this is for. Okay, if you go into the day section, you'll find that I've got, a session tracker. What I would do is if I decide that I want a second session, I would add a new document with a plus down here. And I would just type in section 2. Okay. And then I would have a place for more than one section. So that's what that's for. Now I don't necessarily need that, so I'll trash. But yeah, that's why we have the session marker. And one thing you may notice is that both Novel by Day and Session by Day are in the drafts folder. Everything that's in the draft folder counts to your word count, okay? So if I go ahead and add in, here is my progress. Now remember, I have 3 already inside of Novel by Day. You're going to notice that if I go into my session tracker or my target tracker here, okay, I didn't set one for this document. So if I go into this section, that's not what I want. Oh, hold on. No, I'm sorry. I need to go into project. There you go. 7 out of 50. So I technically I have words counting on both ends. It's very important that you only choose one or the other. Don't use both, because if you use both, you're going to corrupt your word count. Okay, so if you want to just do it all in one go, use Novel by Day. If you'd rather do session tracking so that you can do a little bit here and a little bit there each day, then use Session by Day. Now, it doesn't matter if you flip-flop from day to day. So like if you do Novel by Day on day 1 and Session by Day on day 2, that's fine. You can do that. It won't matter. What we should not do is do one for Novel and for Session on day 1, because that will corrupt your word count. So bear that in mind. That's very important. Okay, and then the last part of the draft section is the continuation by scene. This is what you'll have starting in December 1st. If you get to the end of day 31 and you still have more novel to write, you would continue on here in the continuation by scene. And this is part of the word tracking section. So if you want an accurate word count, then you'll continue to write your story here. Okay, it's pretty simple. And then once you get into draft corrections here, then you're going to be out of the word count, which means you can make any change you want here in this section and it will not affect your word count. And you can, certainly record accurate statements by adding more here. So this is important if you are worried that your story is going way off track. You can use the draft correction section in order to fix your work, make sure you're back on track. All right, so that brings us to our next section. This is the chapter compilation section. This is actually one of the new components for 2025. This is actually really simple. This is something that really should have been in the early drafts of the NaNoWriMo template. This is where you'll compile all your scenes together into actual chapters. And again, this is independent of your draft section, so it will not corrupt your word count. And I would recommend you use this after you've gone through the draft correction section. But yeah, instead of compiling everything by scene or by just, big chunks, you can take what you've written and put it into this section and call it chapter 1 or chapter 2 or whatever you want. So it's a great way to organize your story based on the traditional methods of having chapters. So not sure why it took me so long to put this in here, but it's in here now. And Certainly, I hope you guys will use it because I think this will be useful for most of us. And this is officially the last feature needed to ensure you don't need to port your work outside of the document in order to finish it. In the old drafts, you did all your work in the session by days, and then you ported it over to, your document of choice to finish it. Now you don't have to. Now you can do it all in the same template, which is nice. That brings us to another feature for 2025 called the official outline. So remember we had the quick and dirty writing section up here, the story reminders. This is for the quick sketch and the one that most of us will use. But some of us may decide we need more. We may need something more formal. So that's what the official outline is for. And you'll notice there's 4 sections. So you'll have your summary outline. And this is the, in my opinion, the most important one, because this is the outline based on what you've already written. And you'll find that I've got it set up to allow you to track your A plot, your B plot, all your various characters and locations and whatnot. And you also have a place to note how you feel about the chapter and anything you want to do differently. And of course, there's an overview that allows you to also plan your summary, your theme, and your tone, or denote what it is if you've already got it written. I've only given you space for 3 chapters initially. So what you'll want to do is if you have a chapter 4, just copy it, and then underneath it, paste it, and then type in chapter 4. Okay. So just keep going. You don't really need it to be anything fancy. But yeah, it's there for those of you who want to keep track of what's actually happening in the novel at the bird's eye view, and you want all the notes to be accurate. Okay. Then I have the sketch outline. This is going to be fairly empty because this is your pre-writing outline. If you decide that you need some kind of direction, you can essentially sketch your ideas here. This is going to be a little more detailed than what's in the quick and dirty tips or section, because this is where you're going to actually think through what you want to happen in your story. This is where you might note your plot points and your twists and all that stuff. So there's no formality here. You just write what you need to. You can do a bullet list if you need to. But it's a section where you can truly plan your outline and your story to the details that are necessary. Okay, and then you have one called the plotter outline. This is basically the same as the sketch outline, but this is for those of you who like to use plotter instead. So what you can do is you can go to your plotter document and build out your entire outline in plotter and then export it as a Word or Scrivener document and then port that into this page here. In this case, the only thing I know to do is to paste it. So if there's a better way, you can probably certainly use that better way. Might be able to port it directly as a page. I'm not sure, as I haven't tested that, but for now, if you want to just paste your document, you can do that here. But yeah, now you have a place to import your or paste your plotter outlines right here in the template. And then the last one here is reconciliation points. So I am officially calling the sketch and plotter outlines the fantasy outlines and the summary outline the reality outline. And what that means is the fantasy outline is the outline of the story that you want to write, and the reality outline is the outline of the story that you did write. And it might be that neither one is working. It might be that you need some reconciliation between the two. So that's what this section's for, is to allow you to determine what points need reconciliation, note how to do it, and know what you want to do to make it work. So if you want to write out your new scene here, that's up to you. You're not required to use this in any particular way, but the point of this section is to allow you a spot to notice what the differences are between the 2 drafts and know what you want to try to keep or what you want to change in order to make it work for the story. Because the idea is these outlines are designed to give you your best story, not your, not the story that ends up being the story that could be. So that's what these are for. So hopefully that'll be useful to some of you, if not all of you. But that's, reconciliation, and that's all of the official outline. Okay, then we have the dedicated daily journal. This is something I added last year. This is essentially like the tracking elements, but much more detailed. Again, for those of you who really need to document all your work down to the T, that's what this section's for. And I've given you 2 versions. You've got your bullet version, and then you've got your basic version. So the idea is pick the one you prefer and then run with it all the way through. And again, you can kind of see what's offered here. You know when you start your session, how long it lasts, and then what your notes are. This is good for those who have the time. not every one of us has time to really get deep into this. So this will not be for everybody. Again, it's not something I typically use, so I typically stick with the traditional tracking elements. But again, if you are a diehard who loves accountability, this is for you. So it's there if you need it. So next we have the advanced story planning section. These are again elements that I've added last year. This is where you can plan your character, your location, and objects for your story, and each section's got their own different breakdowns. So the way it works is you fill in the section here according to what your characters need. You'll notice that there's sections on how it should change and what really changes. Goes back to the philosophy of the summary and the sketch outline differences here. But yeah, typically what you're going to do is you're going to go through the bio, what their traits are, and what pre-planned and discovered means is pre-planned is what you want to happen. Discover is what happens during the writing process, and then the planned is what you think needs to happen after you've gone and evaluated the character's state in the story. So this is again a place to track all the changes, all the things that should happen, all the things that don't happen. And of course, this is a place to get to know your characters. And you'll notice that I've got sections for the main character, the antagonist, and then for additional characters. Okay, and with the additional, you may need a duplicate page. So again, I don't give you everything that you need. Some things you'll have to add yourself, but the bones are there for you. So all you got to do is just copy them and paste them to the next thing, or duplicate the page and just change the title to whatever the next character is. You can also, if you want to change what this is called and actually name your characters instead of calling the main and antagonist and all that, that's also fine. You would just click inside here and then rename it. Okay, so you can certainly customize this to what you need to do. And if you need to do additional notes on this side that go beyond what's on the page, you can certainly add your notes over here as well. That's why we use Scrivener and not some other tool. Okay, location and object has the same general focus. Again, you can see that you've got your name, type, the ID, where it is in reference to the rest of the story, any other notes you need to mention, and of course you've got all the same ideas behind the character, and that the story or the story itself may change the location. Maybe you have a story where the island is sinking. Well, obviously, at the beginning of the story, the island is dry. At the end of the story, the island is underwater. So that would be a change or a transformation. So these are things, again, you may need to note as you go. And again, you've got the same idea for secondary and other locations. Then we got also the same for the objects, here the MacGuffin section and the other objects if there's any other important ones. So this is where you can, again, note what the object's lore is, how it affects the story, why people want it, do all the things. Okay. So most of these you'll find are going to be partly in the planning section, which you would use now in October. Some of it you might do on your way through in November. And certainly as you shape the story, you'll find that more things are useful. But again, it's all there for you to help you keep in control of your story. Okay, and then the other thing I added last year was in the plotting planner. This is something called the conflict tracker. Technically, this could be part of the outline, but I kept the official outline separate because this is more for general audiences, and this here is more for advanced or those who are really looking to track all the essential components of an outline. So in this case, this will be charting what the conflicts are in the story, and then how those conflicts change over time, and how the conflicts affect the story over time. So again, you can read through here. You'll notice I have something called level 1, level 2, 3, final boss, all that. I structure it like a video game because most of us who play video games know that video games are designed to get harder as you go toward the boss. And technically, that's adopting a story technique that really has existed before video games. And so this section is designed to remind us that our story really should be crafted like a video game, and that the second act is really the going through level 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth until we get to the final boss. So it's a way to think of it in that term. So I think it's useful. Hopefully you do too. And then we go into the research section. This is something that's native to Scrivener, so every document's got this one. Right here is just my overview of anything that you want to note about your story will go all into the research section. You kind of see I've given you different ideas for any notes you want to make on your story, any research regarding your story, any locations that you want to write down where you found it, what books did you use, so forth. Of course, you have the web pages if you need to write down what the site is and the URL and whatnot. And then any images that you find or generate that you want to keep in your library, you can certainly check on that as well. And then any AI chat conversations about the topic, you can certainly log them if you trust it. And then any other generative content that you might have. This is something, again, I want to recommend. If you're going to use this, use it for like your marketing. Don't use it for your writing. The whole point of Novel November or NaNoWriMo is to write, not to generate. So I am a fan of AI, but not for this. So I do want to make that clear that you can use it however you want, but the advice is do your story yourself. And if you need to use AI, use it for either research or testing or something other than the writing. So bear that in mind. All right, then we go into social media planning. This is something else we added, I think either last year or the year before. This one I do have a little more extensive notes on it because it might be that some of us don't really want to use social media, and some of us may need some guidance if we do decide to use it. So this section here is just going to give you a reminder of how to use this section. And essentially what you're doing is if you want to give some updates to your audiences in your various platforms like Facebook or Twitter or whatever, you've got a section to do all the planning. And that's really all this is, just planning your post. And again, if you want to plan it out in October and then start sending it out in November, it'll make it easier on you to do that. So it's something I think is useful for those of you who really use social media well. Not all of us do. So again, this is an advanced feature that not everyone will need or want. So don't feel obligated to use this, but it's there if you need it. Of course, I'm a YouTube person. You're watching this on YouTube, therefore, I use YouTube. So I might want to use this for YouTube, but again, this is assuming that I've got the time and really the patience to plan it all out. I typically just throw that stuff out there as I feel I need to do it. So I probably won't use this myself. But again, if for those of you who are dedicated to YouTube or any social media, this section's here for you. Now, you will notice that I've got something called Other Social Media Post Planner. And that includes TikTok and Instagram and all of that. The reason why these are here and not in their own dedicated space is because I don't use them. I don't know how to use them. So therefore, I don't know what I would need to include on the template. So I've left it up to you to fill in your own template if you need to use any of these other platforms for your planning. Really, all you got to do is just take what you want from the other sources and just make your own document underneath one of these. Again, just add the plus and then you can copy in what you need. This is all very customizable. You do not need to stick to anything in the template. You can change everything around that you want to make it your own. I would encourage you to do that. So if you are a TikTok user or Instagram user or whatever, and you would rather save your social media for those platforms, just repurpose what's here and to use one of them. Or you can even use this page. It's up to you. So I want to encourage you guys to, again, make it your own. Okay. Now, what's new this year is the hashtag bank, and it's just a place for you to store your favorite hashtags. I've given you a few that I feel might be useful. Again, I don't use social media enough to know that they are useful, but this is these are hashtags I assume would work for you. So try them out, and then obviously if you got hashtags that work, just you can paste them under here, or I don't care, put them in this section. Do what you want. What I would suggest is if you have hashtags work, maybe leave a comment in the comments below so others can certainly use them, and then I might be able to add them into the 2026 version. So give me your list of anything you think is worth having in the starter hashtag section. Okay. Then finally on this section is the social media effectiveness. This is also a new feature for this year. This is your postmortem or your post analysis section where you get to decide which posts were effective and which ones were not. And so you can name what the platform was, when you posted it, and what the style of format was, whether it's text, image, or video. Decide how many people saw it, how many people liked it, how many people shared it, how many people subscribed to you because of it, how many people left a comment. which ones were your favorite comments, who or how many did not like it, how many canceled because of that post, what was your least favorite post, and how would you rate it? Okay, and then again, you can copy this and add more as needed. But this is a good tool for those of you who want to really nail your strategy down and to see like what people like and what they don't and what the effective posts are, because the more we learn now, the more we can use it next time. So that's sort of the point of this section, is to figure out what you might want to do next year. Okay. And then finally, we have a new feature called the email campaign checklist, which is basically like the social media section, but it's for your emails. And those of you who have a newsletter that you like to send out to your readers, this section is perfect for you, because then you can plan your post to keep up your readers updated, and then you can check off the ones that you've done. Okay. And you'll see that you can also check how often you want to post, what you want to post, who your provider is, if that matters. The only reason why this is here is if you have more than one provider, you might find one provider is better for this type of service than another is. For example, I've got SendFox as my main provider, but I also have one called Acumba Mail that I never use um, because it's designed more like a flyer. So it'd be good if I were sending out branded campaigns with images and splashy designs, I would use Acumba Mail. But normally my newsletter is just text, so I use SendFox for that. So if you've got a system where one service does one job better than another, then you might want to list your provider here just as a source of a reminder of what you're using and what you're sending out. But again, as you can see, you'll do everything according to the checklist if you want, and you can note when to send it. You'll notice that there's these little circles here. In order to change them, you'll just make sure you're on this line, but you'll go up here into the bullet section, and in the drop down, you'll click the check mark to change it to a check. Okay, otherwise you can just leave it as an open symbol here. So that's how you use that. And then after you've done your planning, you go into the email blast by day section, which is next. This is where you actually get to plan your emails. So again, this works like all the other sections where you get to, basically label it, decide when you're going to send it, what you want to call it, what you want it to say, why you're posting it. And then there's a section that allows you to track how many saw it, how many opened it, how many clicked in it. And again, you have a section for all your different emails, and you'll just copy and paste additional ones as needed. Okay. And again, these are suggestions. You may have others that you'd rather use. I always say delete what you don't want, or change what you don't want to something that will be more useful to you. These are just ideas, not necessarily things you should do. You know your audience better than anyone else. So what you should do is what your audience wants and what you know they want. So again, this section is designed to help you plan for that. That's Email Blast by Day, and that's a great campaign manager for you if you like to keep your audience engaged while you write. And then finally, you have campaign effectiveness, which works exactly like the social media effectiveness, where you track what the success rate was of your email campaign. This one you'll typically do in December after everything's done. And that's really it. Just, make a note of what your best emails were, why they were great, why they sucked, whatever your reasons. If you find that you just have a consistent response across all emails, which is what I typically have in mind, great. There's nothing to learn here. You just keep doing what you're doing, unless you're trying to grow them, and then in which case you might want to make a few tweaks here and there. Okay, but that's what this is. The campaign effectiveness is for. And then we have our final new feature, which is the personal calendar, or the accountability calendar. I meant to call it accountability calendar. I forgot that that's what it was called, so I just call it personal. But essentially, it's an accountability calendar. And what that does is this allows you to plan your writing progress for the month, because we're all busy. We all have appointments to keep. We all have places to go. Some of us have families to manage. Some of us don't, but, some of us may want that, and just this is not the month to have it. Whatever the case may be, we all have our needs, and finding time to write can be challenging. So the calendar here is designed to help you figure out when you can write. And so you have your grid section for those of you who like to plan by the grid. And then there's the typical list section that I like to use for those of us who want a little bit more management within a block of text. And again, you can see that it gives you section to determine what your tasks are for each day in the month. You'll of course need to name the month in case you're doing this in an off month. But yeah, you'll see it gives you an opportunity to list what your ranges of time dedication are for various, whether it's working or appointments or whatnot. And of course, down here, you've got a section for what your writing expectation is, how much time you can commit to it, and so forth. Um, and then a place to note any reason for not writing or any reason why your writing may be less than what you want. Again, this is all for you to write according to what you need. Again, I've only given you the first 3 days. My philosophy is that you may decide that it gets too cluttered to have every day on here. So if there's a day you don't want to write and you don't want to explain yourself, just delete the day. It's fine. This is for you. No one else needs to see this. Likewise, if let's say you do write every day, but you don't need to note that it's a holiday. In November, the only holiday we have is Thanksgiving, which is usually going to be on the fourth Thursday of the month. So you may decide on that day that no, I'm just spending time with family, no writing that day. That's typically what I do. Then I might delete that day, or I may never just add it in the first place. But I've given you the option to do whatever you want here. The idea is it's just a place to give you some accountability, so that you can plan. And yes, I noted the irony is that you're spending time writing your plan out. You could just be writing. I get it. You may find this is overkill. Again, you don't have to use it. It's here if you want it. It's for the people who like the accountability or really have a hard time planning their day. This is the way they can plan it and commit to it. And that's the point of it. Okay, and then the last section in the document, this is an old one, but it's for the win section. This is just where you can note your progress. Like, how did you do? Did you win? And if you participated in Novel November, what gifts did you get? How do you redeem them? How long do you have before you have to before they expire? So that's what this is for. Um, Again, this is a full, complete suite of items for you to use in your NaNoWriMo project. Now, my plans for the future are to include an Excel spreadsheet where you can also log your daily counts. I have not done that yet because that's an extensive thing that I don't really have a lot of time for. So if you guys want to make your own Excel sheet to track your daily progress so you can see the bar chart, that's fine. I would recommend it. But one day I will try to create an official one that goes with this template. It just won't be this year, maybe next year. We'll see. Another thing I might do for the future, and if I remember to log it down, is I might give you a place down in this final section here for the win section where you can import your previous wins, so you have a tracking list. It might be that one day you'll reuse the same template. I don't know. I think the point of why NaNoWriMo's site existed for as long as it did is because we had a place to look at our records. We had a place to look at all the stories we've written in the past and what our progress was. And that's what was appealing to me about the system was I got to see how I did in the past and see how do I compare this year? Do I go up or down? And so I think in the future, what I'd like to do is provide maybe an Excel sheet that also does the same purpose, gives you a place to record all your wins over the years. So it probably won't be in the document itself because we typically uh, write our stories in the latest document. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, again, those of you who've used this before already know this, but those of you who are new may not know this. The document defaults to, you can't see it, it's right above my recording line, but it defaults to NaNoWriMo Basic Template 2025 for Scrivener 3. You probably don't want to directly copy or write your novel in the template itself. You're going to probably want to go into File and Save as a new project name. And so what I'll typically do is I'll go into my NaNoWriMo, and you'll see I've got a bunch of them already queued up. I'll typically go to whatever the next one is, and I'll change it to 2025. And that's where I'll write all my new stuff. So I'm going to do that now because I will end up using this document for that. So I'll save it. And now I have the 2025 version for myself. So when I start my novel in November, assuming that I will, I don't know that I am yet because I have a lot to do going into November, so I may not have time, but I do have a story in mind if I do decide to use it this year. But now I have the official file ready to go, so I can fill it out if I want to. And of course, I always start with the quick and dirty reminders, and I already know what my title is. If I use it, it's going to be called Out for Milk. And I have to remind myself all the other features about it, because again, I have it in my notes somewhere. But yeah, that's what this document is. And for those of you who are interested in using it, you can download it at my Drinking Cafe Latte site. Let me show you that real quick. All right, so we're over here on my WordPress site, Drinking Cafe Latte 1 p.m. This is actually an old blog. This is not my author website. That's a different place. I usually keep my NaNoWriMo stuff over here on this site because this is a blog that I used to use for just general commentary on whatever I was thinking about. So I don't use it very much anymore, but I do post all updates on the Scrivener template over on this site. So this is where you're going to go to get your update. You'll find that I have the post on the new features here if you need to go back and review what we talked about. And then you'll have some download sections. So we go here, and whether you click on the link or want to go in directly, the direct link is in miscellaneous, and then it'll be in the story development templates here. We'll go ahead and do that because you could always just click on the the link in the article itself if you want, or you can click on it in the description below. But you'll find that I've got my templates for Scrivener here. I had plans on doing stuff for Plotter and whatnot. I just never got around to it. And then the Kindle Velo site is dead, so you won't even need this anymore. But if you go into templates for Scrivener, you'll find that you got sections for two things. You have your story planning general, which is something that I haven't worked on in a long time now. This is like the mega planner for novel writing. This thing is out of hand, and it's like a jungle of weed that I have to sort out. So it's good for those of you who are like super users of novel planning, but it's extremely intimidating, so I don't typically recommend it. But I do plan to finish it at some point, probably when I'm done with this one. But right now we're going to go into the NaNoWriMo basic template. And if, of course, if you want other templates, you can check out some of these old sites here, but we're going to do to find out more. We'll take you into the basic template section, and you'll find that this is, again, an overview of not just the template, but gives you all the updates over the years. You'll notice the video is coming soon. It's because I'm recording it now. So eventually this video will show up in this space. You'll see old videos here. And if you decide that you want this, then you're going to go ahead and go to the Story Tools and Templates resource library over on Beacon. So we'll click there real quick, and you'll see that this is where you'll get it. So you can check what you want through drop downs here, but you'll find most of my templates are just related to just writing and whatnot. So you'll go into your template here and just get the resource, and it'll download for you. We'll go ahead and take a look, and there it goes. Now it's in my downloads folder. So oh, I gotta actually accept it first. Now it's in my file. Okay, so that's how you get it. And if you decide you want other templates, you can certainly go through and check what other options you got. Here's story planning general. You can see it's insane, but if you like insanity, then this template's for you. And then all the old Kindle Velo stuff. Again, remember, Kindle Velo is dead now, but the system is still good if you want to track your writing progress via chapters, or if you're using other services for serial fiction, it's still useful, and just not useful for Kindle Velo anymore because Kindle Velo is gone. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The last thing I want to show you, and then we'll finish up for today, is the roadmap tool. So if you decide that you want to give me ideas, or if you want to see what's coming, just click the roadmap, and it'll take you over here to LinkedIn, and you can get an overview of what is happening right now. You can see we've added all the new features, accountability calendar. This is kind of out of order. You'll have to just kind of scroll through and see what's new. You got hashtag bank is new, subscriber is new. And then over here, you'll see what is coming and what might be showing up in the future. The future is stuff that I want to do, but don't necessarily know how to do or whether I should, like the useful AI prompts. I'm actually considering removing this because I don't think I want to encourage AI prompting in the document. Again, not that I'm against it, but I think it's, there's so much vitriol behind AI right now. I don't think I necessarily want to put that in the template, at least until it's more widely accepted. And even then, I'm careful because I don't want to assume that we should be writing through ChatGPT, because again, the point of Novel November or NaNoWriMo is to write the novel, use their ideas and write it down. And, if it sucks, it sucks. It's awesome, awesome. We don't really need a robot to write it for us. But what I do probably want to do is create prompts that help us with outlining, and I don't mean like coming up with ideas. I mean like summarizing what our chapters already have. So that's actually kind of what I'm thinking is, use AI to summarize what you've done, not replace what you've done, not plan for what you want to do, but to, show you in a quick synopsis of what you did do. Because again, it's a time saver. Um, that's my opinion. I don't know, y'all can tell me what you think about that. I know I've got users here who love AI and users who want to burn it down. So, whichever one you're on, let me know. Serial fiction engagement. I was planning on doing this until Kindle died, and then now I'm not so sure I care anymore. So this may not go into any future reference, but again, you all let me know what you want in case you still use serial fiction like Wattpad and you want the tools that Wattpad uses. And then the useful resource list, I was actually supposed to do that this year, but again, I have to think this one through because I don't know yet what I want for it. But the idea is to give you a resource link of all the different features that are out there that might be useful for your planning or for your um, just a place to kind of gather or refine your ideas. Most of it's AI generated, as you can see. You got Notebook LMs listed. I find Notebook LM is quite useful, but again, you guys can decide what you want. Over here, the tell me what you want section, this is really the place where you can tell me what you want. You click on it, give me your comments, tell me what you want, and then, that's that. There's also a section for ideas. If you want to create ideas for the template, just go ahead and note them here. You will have to register and sign in. That's the only caveat is you will have to actually put your email in here in order to post your ideas. So if you're against that, then maybe this is not the right forum for you. But if you do have your ideas, this is the place to do it. So I will check them every October. Yeah, it may be a long run up before I see them, but by October, that's typically when I'll see all the latest ideas, and I'll certainly use the ones I like. And of course, upvote the ones that you want to see. If it's already released, you don't need to upvote it because it's already in this thing. But if you see like needs research or any of these other buttons here on roadmap, you upvote it. Tell me what you want in it. Okay, and then the updates. I have not sent out the update for this one yet, or 2024 for that matter. Wow, I'm way behind. This is where I'll typically send out latest updates. You can subscribe to it. There's no opt-in, so that use at your own risk. I really don't know LinkedIn's policies on email subscriptions. So I would just say just subscribe to my YouTube channel, and when I put out the next video, you'll know. You don't really need this section, but if you want to subscribe to it, you can. I think I had one subscriber over the years, but you'll see I'm not very good at keeping up with it. So yeah, I don't think it matters if you sign up for it or not. So that's basically it. That's the template for 2025. And if you've never used it, you may find it quite useful if you plan to write in November. You can always use the official tools on the sites. Again, I think Pro Writing Aid's got one that they're using, but let me see. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you. Actually, no, I'll tell you. I thought that they do have one that they're featuring somewhere. But anyway, you guys can use whatever template you want. It's all works. The whole purpose of a template is to track your word count, and they all do it. I mean, any of the apps you use can do it. You can set up your own. It's all fine. I just want to make sure that you know what's in this particular template. So if you decide that the features are worth it to you, you'll know how to use them and why you should. And remember that it's now October. It will be the 21st by the time this goes live. So if you have not started planning, now is a good time to start because you want to get the ball rolling right on November 1st if you're going to write. So, and if you don't care this year, then I'm surprised you're still watching this video, but thanks. But yeah, if you do care, make sure you go ahead and let me know if you decided to use my template. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you think it's overkill. Tell me what you want to see that's not in there yet. That's possible in Scrivener. Bear in mind, Scrivener does not do graphs, so I can't give you graphs, but I can give you an Excel sheet if you want to see that package in the next version. So again, let me know, and hope this video has helped you out in getting you started on your novel November this year. And for those of you who missed NaNoWriMo, hopefully this will do the job of filling in that gap. So make sure you sign in and let me know, and I may set up too. So, we'll see how it goes. So anyway, that's all for now. And I hope to see you for the next video, whatever that may be. Thanks again. Bye.